I said that white women in the United States oftentimes put their man, their job, and their God over their relationships with other women. Hence, they're missing an integral part of their life and can't form meaningful connections with the community that they need the most. However, and I want you to create a tiny space in your brain for this knowledge and always keep it in there and never forget it. I do not have a problem with another woman centering her life around her child, because you will never catch me putting a man, a job, or a God over my daughter. She will always come first. Now pay especially close attention, because centering your life around children does not mean you lose relationships with other women. They stay in your life. That's what those relationships are for. That's what the friendships and the communities with other women are for. So they go with you throughout your life. They form, they mold into different shapes, but they stay with you. And I know you don't hear what I'm saying. You're listening, but you're not hearing what I'm saying, because we live in a society that makes you believe that centering your life around something else means anything else is deficient somehow, because that's how patriarchal society works. The man is first, then the woman is a subhuman species. Then, children have no agenda, they have no agency of their own. A child only feels like a burden because you're doing it on your own. If you're a mother who made a conscious choice to have a child and you're still having a hard time, put your hand on your heart and tell me truly, is your child the source of your distress? Or is it the fact that you carry the mental load for literally every aspect of your life? Is it your child that is actually hard and difficult? Or is it the life that you have is just not supportive of that? Hence, you live in a society that is not centered around children. Think about it closely. What does society that is centered around children really means to you? What does a child really need? They need healthy adults who are physically and emotionally available to them during their most formative years. And what does that mean? How do you make that happen? First and foremost, that means you prioritize the health, mental and physical health of the mother. It means prioritizing close-knit communities so the mother has support that she needs. She has other women in her life who are also present in the life of that child. That's why when I say the child-centered society, it does not mean that you lose everything. That it doesn't mean that you sit with your child all day. That makes exactly the opposite. And it's because we live in a society that is not centered around children. We have such a skewed perception of what that would actually look like. What do children need aside from adults? They need slower pace of life. They need access to nature. They need access to community, right? And I hope you're starting to hear what I'm saying. I know you're listening, but do you hear what I'm saying? Because in a child-centered society, people who choose to be childless also thrive. Imagine that. Because the lifestyle that is healthy and beneficial to children and to families, also beneficial to all humans. What a concept. You can live your life without children and still be integral part of a community that has children present. And just in case so you really heard me, I will say this, that in a child-centered society, you do not force women to have children or any person who's able to give birth. You do not force them to give birth. I will go a step further. You do not even need to encourage them to give birth. You do not need to have no manipulation over their decision, because any woman or any person of any gender who's able to give birth wants to make a decision whether they want to have a child or not. What they need in order to make that decision adequately, they need to be feeling safe, feeling provided for, having a community, and they need to have examples of healthy relationships between adults and children. And how do you have that? You don't need to tell stories. You don't need to write books. You don't need to give them fairy tales. What people need is the truth. And how do you get that truth adequately, truly, is being presented with those relationships in your life. So that means you have to be a part of communities where children are present. You have to be friends with other families. You have to have friends that are not just like you, from all kinds of backgrounds, all kinds of religions and communities and genders. And when you have that, you can adequately make decisions about your life and the world around you. Do you hear what I'm saying? You have to live together with other people. Cheese and rice.